Hello, and thank you for joining me to look through my rather extensive recent haberdashery haul. So it comes from vintage fairs, because there's a lot of those around here, and from two sellers that a lot of people in the vintage community probably already know: Swagman's Daughter and Mary Humphreys on Etsy. And I'm going to divide my treasures into, I'm going to start with trimmings and braids, like dress trimmings, all kinds of interesting trimmings. And then perhaps my recent purchase of dress appliques. Got some gorgeous ones. Some of them might not be entirely, I don't know, made for adults, but I won't let that hold me back. At a vintage fair, actually, there was a lady selling a whole lot of 1930s millinery flowers and of silk flowers for corsages. So, yes, appliques and millinery flowers and rather gorgeous vintage belt buckles. A lot of them from the 1940s, because of course in the 40s they tended to have a fabric belts on most dresses, and I think there were a lot of dead stock buckles from that era, but also some earlier kind of Art Deco buckles which are rather gorgeous. And then for the finale, my recent buttonhole collection. Again, got some real cuties in there. So let's get started with my ribbons and braid. Oh, but before, I'll just show you. So this is the iron out flat frock, late 1940s iron out flat late 1940s iron out flat frock. Don't try and say flat frock too fast. That I made last week, and anyone who saw it will remember that it wasn't entirely finished because I was waiting for green rickrack braid and a sort of scarlet. This isn't quite red. These flowers are sort of scarlet buttons. That's why I looked at online haberdashery in the first place, because I already had lots of haberdashery little treasures already that I just found, but I got carried away. Anyway, I found the green rickrack and some red buttons. So just to show you, I put the buttons on, the red ones that went on before. And if you're thinking, did that zip go on? No, because I have discovered the art of getting into this dress, and the art is to do up it was this button under here I was complaining about because of the thing of buttoning it up like this. But what I've discovered is, as long as I start with those buttons and don't button up either shoulder, is it starting to sound palaver? If I start with these buttons, they're really quick, and actually then it's easy to do the shoulder ones and the skirt. So I was starting at the shoulders. No. As long as one starts at the side, does the shoulders, it's fine. So I can get in and out of it now. Always a good thing in a dress. Okay, let me start showing you my ribbons and trimmings. So a gorgeous one to start with, these rabbits and toadstools. I think it's fine for grown-ups, don't you? Yes. Got about 2 meters of it. I'll definitely need to design a dress around the ribbon to make the absolute most of it. So that, in a similar vein, I've got this. If you're wondering what they are of course ducks playing musical instruments. What else? And quite a bit of it, actually. I got it from Swagman's Daughter, so I'll definitely need to plan a dress around the ribbon of, yes, ducks playing musical instruments. Perhaps a little more sensibly, I've then got this gorgeous Swagman's Daughter too, and it's a vintage red and white dress weight ribbon, beautifully embroidered, I love those little flowers. I do know what fabric I'm going to use with this. I haven't got it, but I know I'm going to use red and white gingham fabric, which I think would look really pretty. And I've got quite a lot of this ribbon, so maybe a dress along the lines of the Joyful Doris Day dress I made, like a kind of big 50s skirt, lots of red and white, very jolly. Then at a vintage fair, I bought this ribbon. It's 1920s and it is actually dress weight ribbon embroidered with these wonderful Chinese dragons. So obviously that needs a 1920s dress for the 1920s ribbon. And also from the same seller at that vintage fair, I bought this 1930s ribbon. You can see that it's all done in graduated colours of embroidery threads in tent stitch, and very popular in the 30s and perhaps early 40s, that kind of design of colourful flowers on a black background. So pretty. She said, oh, you're the only person that seems to appreciate vintage braids nowadays. So the problem is the field is clear at those fairs, anyway, certainly the ones in person, for me to buy too much. Anyway, of course, I couldn't leave that behind, could I? No. And then I also got from that seller it's a dress weight 1930s ribbon in this kind of apricot and subtle greyish blue. Very pretty. Again, I've got quite a lot of it, but I don't quite know what I'm going to do with it yet. But of course, it had to come home with me. Oh, and then we're back to Swagman's daughter again. I got this card of, I thought that was an S, but I think it's a J. Anyway, theoretically it was going to be my initials. So, got those, and I got this, you can see, it's a kind of a red little trim, and wouldn't that look pretty to edge a collar and cuffs or something? And then you probably noticed this laundry tape of numbers. Do you remember when they used to sew in on numbers on laundry tape? But it's rather decorative. So I ended up getting more. I got 42. I didn't pay much attention to which numbers. 55. And if you're thinking, what on earth are you going to do with it? I thought it would look really pretty. Just use as is, as a dress trimming. Use all of the numbers like in stripes across a dress, maybe like a 20s dress or a shirt. It needs some thinking about, doesn't it? Yes, it does. But rather a fun idea. Then this came from an old lady that I knew, and she left these to me, and she told me she was going to leave me a few things, and she said she'd had these since the 1950s, so you can get like on Etsy ones like that now that I guess a reproduction vintage, but these are true vintage, and there's some rather gorgeous trims, and I do have a plan for them which you will see soon, and don't worry, they shall be used with absolute care and appropriately because they are very special. Yes, I mean they're in a bit of a tangle, aren't they? Hopefully you can see those, and then that pretty orange one too. And then I got this is from the Vintage Sewing Nook, who I found on Instagram, but they sell on Etsy, and it's a vintage trim of like pleated chiffon, but isn't that rather jolly? Maybe against navy or something? We see. I haven't got a plan for that yet. And then obviously I was getting my rickrack braid. Yeah, I went a bit mad on the rickrack braid. So I got this vintage rickrack braid in this. I got the green, obviously I put on my dress. That was the green that I had on my dress. But also, while I was on vintage rickrack braid, got this rust colour, which is rather lovely. And I got this brown rick-rack braid, because I wear a lot of brown, and vintage pink rick-rack braids, and then these teeny tiny mini rick-rack braids, which I do have a little plan for. That's in the kind of sky blue and the ivory white. And then this might not seem terribly exciting, but I bought some bias fold tape, vintage bias fold tape, because when I did the walkaway dress, I ordered some bias binding, Amazon I think. Couldn't bring myself to use it. The cotton was so harsh and the colours were so kind of harsh too. So I couldn't resist getting these vintage bias fold tapes, because you can see the colours are so much more subtle and muted, so much more appropriate for vintage fabrics. So I got those. So there we are with the ribbons and trimmings, and what was next? Rather amazing appliques and my 30 silk flowers. And here we go on the fabulous appliques. So I got this, which seems to have been cut off a dress, not by me of course, and is this gorgeous beaded panel, white on navy. The shape looks like it should be on a square neckline of a dress. I find exactly the right dress pattern. It's a 1940s piece, so obviously it'd be on a 1940s dress. And then I got, this was from the Vintage Sewing Nook, and she brought it back from France recently. This rather gorgeous silk embroidered applique. You can see that on lace. So that needs to be somewhere on a bodice, looking beautiful. And then this rather fabulous, I mean, I could do with a bit of a little iron with my special little teeny weeny iron, but you can get the idea. It is 1920s, 1930s, gorgeous silk velvet applique for a dress. Because I have so many nights out, I've got this. I mean, how special. It's a 1920s applique, and one day I'm going to make myself a flapper dress, and I do have a design in mind actually, and of course this will be fabulous neckline that it will have, and then I'll have to coerce somebody to take me somewhere nice. So yes, beautiful. And from those glamorous appliques onto some rather fun ones. But who could resist these cross pink bunnies and then these little cross blue bunnies? I know that they are probably meant for more children, but instead they've been appropriated by me. I think they'll just be really cute on kind of little pockets on a dress or something. I'll probably keep them together. A little cross bunny dress. Just continuing with this very grown-up theme. These little ducklings under umbrellas. Oh, and I've got a goose in a hat. So, yeah, so my two little ducklings under their umbrellas, and then my, if I put that on a card so you can see it better, my little geese in hats. And I think these will be, again, on pockets. So fun. Probably have to be either plain fabric or a little gingham fabric. Absolutely adorable and irresistible. And I don't care how old I am. We're on to even more sensible for grown-up things. It's a dog in a train. I mean, a dog in a train with a face. What is not to love? There we are. I got 4. 4 dogs in trains with a face, but I just absolutely love them. And obviously I have to think about what I'm going to do with those, but they just make me happy It's innocent fun, isn't it? Innocent joy. And then I got these little cute little 4 little cute baskets of flowers that can just be added to little pockets of a dress or something. Da-da. Flower in the 30s. So this is a gorgeous thing, and I think supposed to be worn like on the shoulder of a evening dress or something for a glamorous statement. You have to go out sometimes. I mean, I've got so many gorgeous things. Thank goodness I've got this channel so I can show you, who probably appreciate it more if you're watching me than most anyway. If I didn't have this little outlet. Yes, so gorgeous flower. I've also just got a few of these little 30s flowers that she had. 3. I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but they're actually very expensive. She just had absolutely loads. Okay, so now next off, the conveyor belt of goodies is my belt buckles. The final section of my haul, which is the buttons. Always a favourite, I think. So next up is belt buckles, and I'm starting with these rather fabulous Art Deco belt buckles, and there we are, enamelled ones. With these, I do have some ideas actually, but obviously they'll be on a 20s or early 30s dress. Those, it's rather fabulous. Again, Art Deco, and this 40s belt buckle, rather gorgeous. Oh, and then this 1940s one as well, and really fun with the crinoline lady in her suitor. And then I always am drawn to mother of pearl, because so often on a vintage dress, and especially with me and my prints, I can use a mother of pearl button. I mean, this one is particularly special, isn't it? But I do have just a little collection of mother of pearl ones. I got these from a local shop, a lady who sells 40s buckles, and she hardly charges me anything actually. Some of them she gives to me for free. Loads of mother of pearl buckles, but I do use them a lot. Now before I get onto my buttons, I'll just show you these. They are millinery carrots from the 1970s, and I've got lots of them. I don't quite know what I'm going to do with them yet, but I thought with my liking for rabbits, there must be some way of tying in a rabbit and carrot theme. So, buttons. And I can't resist getting the odd special one-off buttons. Look at this one. So pretty, coral and white button. But mainly I've been sensible and got cards of buttons. I got these rather wonderful yellow daffodils and these pink starry vintage flowers here. And these baskets of flowers, really perfect, that late 30s Tyrolean look. So those kind of floral buttons. And I got these that are really pretty. So those are 1940s. These were probably a bit earlier. And I love this kind of knotwork design. I got the green and I got the red. And I got those rather gorgeous pink ones. So I try to make sure there's at least 5 or 6. And then those green novelty buttons, rather beautiful jade green. And some red ones, kind of like propellers, because I've got plans for those actually. And I couldn't resist those gorgeous, they're glass, these ones, not plastic, green glass. I got them at a vintage fair. So those are probably my more sensible buttons. And now we're getting onto the realm of the less sensible buttons. So yes, back to rabbits. I mean, you probably know these rabbit buttons. You do see them around for these like 1940s buttons, but they're just so adorable. So I got them on white and on brown and on khaki green. So I have lots of 1940s vintage rabbit buttons, as well as the rabbits. The other ones I couldn't resist. Ducks. I got these ducks on the white buttons as well. Some of them, they look like they're missing, but actually they've just fallen off their cards. I've got lots of them. I can, make a dress covered in buttons again, although I want to take a little break from round buttonholes after the debacle of the, I shouldn't call it a debacle, the adventure of the iron out flat dress. So yes, I got these ducks. Now, as with the mother of pearl buckles, I do like to always have a little store of mother of pearl buttons as well. So I got those. You can see, I mean, these are rather striking, aren't they? Imagine those down the front of a blouse. They'll make quite a statement. These mother of pearl diamond shapes. Now, these aren't vintage, but they're rather special. Closest friend, like a sister to me, is lovely. She lives in Tokyo. And we went on a virtual shopping trip ever, really, because I just sat in my kitchen staring at my iPad, and she went out shopping, and she went around all the aisles in this amazing, absolutely amazing place in Tokyo, which had literally floors of sewing bits and pieces. And I just pointed out what I wanted, and she bought them for me. That's the kind of friend you want, isn't it? So here they are. They're the dark blue and these really pretty, like Art Deco green clusters of flowers. So I need a project that's going to be like special enough to show off those really rather lovely buttons. I'll shoot this dress. This is what I have a kind of plan. So if you see this dress, this true vintage dress, it has these buttons. Let's see if I can come up a bit. But the thing is that the dress is all in the detail. So I want to do something like this, maybe with a smocking, those beautiful buttons, to really make the most of those gorgeous buttons that she bought me. Thank you so much for watching my vintage haberdashery haul. I hope you enjoyed seeing all those goodies, and I shall of course be sewing with them for years to come. If you have any ideas for anything that you see, let me know. And if you could give this video a like, I'd be grateful. And consider subscribing if you haven't. And actually, I noticed a lot of YouTubers say if you've got this far, and if you've ever wondered why, it's because YouTube inundates you with these sort of school reports on how you're doing. I suppose it's helpful. Although, the other day I just put up, one of these little short videos. Must have been up a minute when it flashed up. More people than usual are flicking past your video without watching it. I mean, it had literally been up under a minute, and I thought, I felt a bit disheartened, to be honest. I mean, I'd spent a little time editing that short video, and I thought, do I need to know? Anyway, then in half an hour it was all better, and I thought, I wish you'd held back on the bad news. I didn't need to know. If you ever wonder why YouTubers seem sort of strangely obsessed with likes and subscriptions, and it is because we get regular school reports from YouTube telling us how well, or not, we've done. So anyway, thank you very much for watching, if you got this far, and I shall see you next week. Bye.